I deftly navigate between tables, the aroma of fresh coffee mingling with the scent of melting candles. The opulent palace hall buzzes with nobles, their laughter echoes like sharp blades amidst the soft hum of conversation. My name is Name. I'm 28, and I serve more than just meals. I'm a beacon in the darkness, a silent observer in the vampire court, where a scornful glance can be more lethal than a dagger. The nobles' uncontrolled laughter scatters through the air. They mock the Queen Mother, cornered in a room, exposed to the cruelty of their twisted amusement. Her eyes, once full of life, are dull, as if a fog has veiled the sparkle they once radiated. No one sees her, except me. My fingers tremble as I reach for her, and a gentle touch to her head causes an imperceptible yet powerful shift. The room falls silent, as if the social atmosphere cannot bear the weight of empathy. Those laughs, which might sound cheerful, now become torture to my ears. In an environment brimming with riches, the deepest wounds often remain hidden, and I am a lover of hidden truths. The mantra echoes in my mind, not all wounds are visible. It's a lesson I learned the hard way, one that compels me to act. While the nobles amuse themselves at the expense of vulnerability, they ignore the emptiness and pain in their midst. My eyes turn to the details around me, the pristine linen tablecloths, the gleaming goblets, and the shadows on the walls that seem to whisper ancient secrets. The Queen Mother's goblet shines under the light, an emblematic symbol of a lineage that, like her, is on the verge of crumbling. I wonder who truly cares for her, why she's here, isolated. Questions dance in my mind, but the urgency to protect this open wound becomes my priority. Soon, new laughter rings out. A bolder noble steps forward, making reckless jokes. The atmosphere turns into an arena, and aggressive stares turn to me as I try to approach the Queen Mother. The momentary chaos reveals my fragility. There's a fine line between laughter and offense, and I am the bridge between them. The space shrinks, the air heavy with unspoken words, and time slips away like sand through my fingers. A silent call forms within me. This is not just a battle for dignity, but a matter of survival. And in this moment, everything projects in my mind. Every invisible threat, every wound that doesn't show but cries out for attention. What happens when laughter turns into despair? The court war begins silently. But I know it's approaching the light. The weight of the laughter transforms into a sharp thread of pain, and within me, a similar thread begins to intertwine. Here in the palace, where nobles mock the suffering of others, true power resides in beings until now invisible. I am here, and the story is about to unfold. As I approached the Queen Mother, the touch became my refuge, an act of resistance in a world that refuses to see reality. My memories float between the echoes of laughter and the whispers of despair. The coffee hall transforms into a labyrinth of recollections. In that opulent setting, images of my childhood dance in my mind. The modest kitchen where the scent of pancakes and laughter filled the air. My mother, with her warmth and care, capable of healing hearts with a simple touch. Vulnerabilities weren't visible, but they resided in every corner, like shadows lurking. Just like the Queen Mother, my family carried invisible scars. I remember the day neighbors mocked us, pointing out our flaws, laughing with disdain. I was just a child, powerless against the cruelty that surrounded us. I realized that pain wasn't limited to the physical. It permeated daily life, shaping the fabric of existence. This awakening of empathy shaped me, turning me into a guardian of vulnerability. In every lost glance, I saw what no one else could, the deep wounds beneath layers of indifference. Now, amidst the court, everything seems to echo. The mirthful atmosphere transforms into a cruel mirror. I recall the symbol on the Queen Mother's goblet, a family emblem, a link between adverse destinies. There was a time when it represented unity and respect, but now it's an object of mockery in unprepared hands. What happened to that legacy, to the love and consideration that used to be the foundation of the lineage? The connection dissolves in the cruel voices that flood the room. At that exact moment, a familiar gleam catches my eye. The ancient tiara, a heirloom that belonged to the Queen Mother, shines like a light in the darkness. I recall stories I heard in my past about this tiara. They spoke of a powerful force, capable of uniting clans and sealing pacts. But now, what it represents is lost in the hands of an insensitive aristocracy, rubbing salt in the open wound of a decaying kingdom. How can I reclaim this? How can I re-establish something that has been disfigured by pride and disdain? Among the nobles, I hear murmurs about the Queen Mother's situation. There's a mystery surrounding her, something that goes beyond a visible fragility. Conversations in the palace corridors are saturated with secrets about her condition, as if her life were a chessboard in a dark game. What lies behind this condition? Who truly loves the Queen Mother? Or are they merely shadows lurking in search of power? The chaos of laughter contaminates the atmosphere, a brutal contrast to the pain I feel in my chest. I decide I can no longer stand by. What can I do to circumvent this situation? I've been reflecting that an answer is essential. Gather information, discover more about her condition, seek invisible allies. But at the same time, I know I'm treading on dangerous ground. Trying to approach her will be an act of courage, but also of vulnerability. Time is passing, and the nobles won't hesitate to unleash even more cruel laughter. In this game, I will either become the chosen one, or I will turn into one of the zombies who feed on the suffering of others. This is the moment to decide. Tying courage to my empathy, I understand that the battle for the Queen Mother's dignity isn't just hers, it's for all souls wounded by indifference. The decision to act weighs on my shoulders like heavy armor. In the palace corridors, the air is thick, laden with whispers and suspicious glances. I needed to know what was truly happening to the Queen Mother, for I couldn't allow her pain to become entertainment for the nobles. The moment demanded strategy, and there I was, determined to find allies. During service, I observed the inner workings of the palace. Nobles, grouped in small cliques, exchanged treacherous laughter. Amidst it, I meticulously listened to clandestine conversations. A noble, sipping from his goblet, mentions that the Queen Mother's condition is more critical than assumed, as if she were a misplaced piece in a deadly game. I am intrigued and frightened. How much further could they advance in cruelty? An idea surfaces to infiltrate the parties and banquet with the arrogant members of the court. For this, I seek a trusted ally, someone with access to these circles. My thoughts immediately turn to Elias, the silent prince. He is known for his ability to read emotions between the lines of every gesture, and, like me, floats on the periphery of the court. Mustering my courage, I decide to approach him. One day, during one of my breaks, I find Elias in an isolated corner. He observes me, and the silent connection between us communicates more than words ever could. Hoping to be understood, I speak about the Queen Mother and the urgency of finding ways to help her. The expression on his face reveals a dilemma. He is as much a prisoner of this somber atmosphere as his own mother. We initiate a nonverbal dialogue, a language of gestures and glances. Trust slowly grows. Elias, reluctant, realizes that the battle we face isn't just hers, but for all who agonize under the weight of indifference. In the following days, our interactions become more frequent, alternating between furtive smiles and silent discussions about how to approach the situation. Every step I take toward him is a risk in itself, but the bitterness of the nobles becomes fuel for my determination. A new party approaches, a new test. I plan to infiltrate and, with Elias by my side, unveil truths hidden in the shadows. I feel time slipping through my fingers, and the urgency to act grows. It's a dangerous game, and the Queen Mother's delicate state hangs over us like a sharp sword. I cannot hesitate now. The moment to take a stand is approaching. In this labyrinth of intrigue, laughter still resonates, but my determination intensifies. I will let my voice be the water that extinguishes the cruel fire of mockery. The game has just begun, and I am determined to emerge victorious, even if the battle demands more of me than I can imagine. The night of the banquet arrives like a cascade of colors and sounds, as nobles drift between laughter and empty conversations. The hall, lit by chandeliers, overflows with opulence, yet the oppression is palpable. Every step I take, serving goblets and canapés, is a dance between disguise and truth. Beside me, Elias observes, his emotions hidden. The plan is clear: to infiltrate among the nobles, to shape the narrative around the Queen Mother's condition. But within this sea of superficiality, I know people feel and agonize, and the game we play demands a deeper risk. The urgency to act grows in my chest as I hear malicious whispers. "They say death is inevitable," a voice stands out, laden with contempt. My senses sharpen like arrows, hitting the target of indignation. Why do the nobles ignore the pain before them? It's a struggle where empathy has become a burden, and those with power seem more interested in manipulating others' pain than offering relief. The atmosphere grows heavy. I step forward, determined to confront this indifference. The words I speak to encourage those around me are an invasion of the reigning apathy. Elias makes a discreet gesture, signaling his support. "This kingdom can be saved," I exclaim, seeking an echo in the lost souls in the room. I hear an ironic laugh from a noble who dismisses the situation as trivial. Hope? Death is the only change worth noting. His contempt ignites a spark of frustration in my eyes. Even so, my determination doesn't wane. I join Elias in a silent effort, raising a glass to gain the noble's attention. The turn of conversation temporarily ceases. "The Queen Mother's dignity is a matter of humanity, not power," I declare, my voice echoing in the void. In this tense moment, however, the consequences of this audacity are instantaneous. The nobles' cold stares turn to us, the cacophony of smiles dissipating. One of them, inflamed by my challenge, retorted, "And who are we to be guided by a commoner?" The atmosphere turns hostile, but the indignation consuming me cannot be silenced. I seize this hesitation to structure my approach. The laughter transforms into murmurs, and I notice the nobles beginning to question in the privacy of their circles. What if the Queen Mother is truly a pawn in this intrigue? This seed of doubt is my triumph, an opening. The party hasn't reached its climax yet, and time seems to flow toward an unexpected turning point. Elias by my side, we seal a silent pact. What began as a desire for change was now a path to truth, a commitment to dignity and hope amidst so many shadows. I feel that this battle has only just begun. Every word I exchange, every concern I express, is a step toward a better future. The game is in motion, and the night still holds many revelations. The energy in the hall feels electrified. The noble in the black cloak advances, his gaze sharp as a blade. "A commoner teaching us about dignity? How dare you?" His retort echoes, cold among the guests. The fear of an undeclared tribunal seizes me, but I cannot falter now. Dignity doesn't respect class. If we want a just kingdom, we must see the pain of others as our own, I affirm, my voice firm. The audience hesitates, a doubt slides through minds perfumed with indifference. My words are planted, hoping to blossom into a new way of thinking. Beside me, Elias makes a discreet gesture of encouragement, and our silent pact strengthens. Murmurs rise amidst the conversation. A young noble, seemingly confused, stands. What if the Queen Mother is the only line of defense against something terrible? What if everything we know is just part of a larger game? He throws out the provocation, his eyes searching for support. This question ignites a small flame among the nobles. Laughter spreads, but the atmosphere begins to shift. Now there's hesitation and questioning. A seed of doubt has been planted. However, not everyone is willing to accept this new perspective. The opposing noble tightens his lips in contempt and advances. What if the commoner is just making waves to her own ruin? Don't you know this conversation could cost you dearly? The air grows heavy. The affront doesn't paralyze me. If the price is facing iniquity, I accept, I declare, feeling the rush of adrenaline. The murmur intensifies, and the nobles begin to exchange furtive glances, reflecting a new, growing concern. Elias, beside me, watches intently, ready to act. What's at stake isn't just what the court thinks. We're dealing with lives, he declares, his strong voice echoing at the head of the room. The power of his words reverberates, and for the first time, some gazes turn to him. The tension in the air is palpable. I notice that the division between those who support and those who oppose us becomes more evident. The leading noble, still firm in his stance, seems to be the only one immune to the call for reason. And who are those willing to challenge the norm? We are the court. Soon, the room transforms into a verbal battlefield. However, the ferocity of his words is now contrasted with the growing murmur in favor of change. I feel something powerful forming, a silent resistance. Every word I uttered and the echo of thoughts now circulate fluidly. The night isn't over yet, but the winds are beginning to shift. Power and hope become a force that cannot be ignored. In this moment, the fight isn't just for the Queen Mother, but for all those who have been silenced. In the midst of night and uncertainty, each of us transforms into a voice, a beacon in the darkness. And so, the battle for justice begins to take shape. The climax is near. In that instant, the hall transforms into a silent battlefield. The gauntlet is thrown, and the clash unfolds between us and the hardened nobles. The murmur of support grows, a wave of emotion that breaks the ice of indifference. But each advance is a step toward a precipice. The consequences could be fatal. With Elias by my side, we decide to act. The urgency of the plan is palpable. We need to unmask the corruption that hangs over the court, I whisper, my heart racing. He nods in agreement, and together we trace a path through the hall toward the core of the intrigues. Every step is dangerous, but I have to believe in the voices that are now rising. The banquet is still in full swing, but there's a new space for dialogue. With our words expanding, I feel that the truth is on the verge of emerging. We need a signal, something to give others courage, an irrefutable truth they cannot ignore, I suggest to Elias. We need the revealing message about the Queen Mother's condition and her connection to those who hold power here. He reflects for a moment, his gaze distant. Finally, he points to a table at the back of the room where the king's old counselor sits, a link between the nobles and the throne. He knows secrets, Elias says, his voice heavy. Let's summon the truth from him. We move toward the counselor, who observes the exchange of respectful and fearful glances.
"Sir," I declare with a firm voice, "the people are concerned about the Queen Mother's health. We need clarity." The hall witnesses our confrontation. Seated, he raises an eyebrow, scrutinizing each of us. "Her health is merely a piece on a larger board," he replies. A tense silence settles. "So are we all just pawns moved by your desires?" I retort, the weariness of apathy fueling my bravery. "We need to know the truth, sir. The kingdom deserves it." I feel the gravity of the moment. The counselor stands, pondering, and a whisper of expectation sweeps through the room. Uncertainty hangs like a storm about to break. "Do you truly believe that the truth can change the destiny of this kingdom?" His question echoes, challenging the determination that simmers among the nobles. "Yes," the answer emerges as a growing echo, and the determined faces around me affirm it, fueling the room's clamor. What happened that night was an awakening. We fought the battle against corruption, not just for the Queen Mother's well-being, but for the freedom of everyone held captive. The counselor hesitates. For a moment, the space between us is filled with a flame of hope, and the tension is palpable. He knows that the support we've now gathered can redefine not only his position, but the entire future of the kingdom. "If it's the truth you seek," he finally says, "then so be it. The Queen Mother's health is compromised,
and she cannot be saved by empty words alone." As he confesses, the room trembles. Truth has power. In this moment of revelation, I understand that we are about to cross a threshold. The night's climax approaches, and victory in the battle for justice already establishes a new order. The answer we awaited unfolds like a rebirth in our fight for dignity. With the burden shared, the nobles now perceive the fragility of power. And I, immersed in urgency and the fighting spirit, feel that we can change the history that imprisons us. The silence in the chamber is deafening after the counselor's confession. The truth resonates through the walls like an alarm bell, echoing a tremor in the heart of every noble present. What was once a festive banquet becomes a minefield of tensions and revelations. We fight for all those who have been silenced, I say, feeling the weight of history on my shoulders. If we don't fight now, soon there will be nothing left to defend. The voices that previously murmured in discontent now rise in unison, each word a fraction of daring and hope. Elias approaches my side, and I feel his sharp gaze, lending gravity to the situation. The counselor, once unyielding, observes the change with a new awareness. "You have no idea what you are provoking," he warns, but not with hostility. His voice carries a new weight of responsibility. "And haven't you realized that we already are provoking?" I retort, indignation burning at the back of my throat. With the truth in sight, the line between allies and enemies begins to blur, and I realize the battle has taken an unexpected turn. The nobles begin to look at each other, weighing words and choices. The loyalty that was once unquestionable has now fractured, revealing fissures in the facade of unity. "What do you suggest, then?" one of the young nobles questions, his eyes almost shining with new determination. "That we unite," I respond, "that we rise and save the Queen Mother, that we make the changes our people so desperately need." A cry of approval rises, and the once threatening murmur is now a chorus of possibility. Driven by hope, we form a circle around the counselor. Each of us makes a vow of action, sharing responsibility and consequences. I feel the strength of that alliance flow like a river, powerful and uncontrollable. Anxiety dissolves and fear transforms into determination. "Protocol states we should only act with the court's support," says the counselor, thinking aloud. "But the ignorance of the past shatters in the unanimous voices around us. Protocol failed, I say, ensuring every word reverberates because it forgot the human being behind the crown. The atmosphere begins to shift. The tenuous threads that bind the court strengthen with a new vision. What seemed like an obstacle now emerges as a portal, an opportunity to rewrite history, not just for the kingdom, but for those who call this place home. As the reality of action solidifies, the chamber overflows with a shared decision. Without further hesitation, we unite to do what once seemed impossible. Our hearts beat as one, and our voices rise like a hymn, anointing the shadows that once dominated. As we advance, I feel that the night will not only bring visible changes, but also a renewal of all hopes. It's no longer just about saving the Queen Mother. It's about a revolution, an illumination of the path to a future where everyone has a voice. And so, under the cover of night, a new kingdom begins to form. It won't be easy, but in our hearts, the certainty burns. Finally, light can triumph over darkness. Balance is now established. History watches us, and the shadows that once surrounded us have begun to dissipate. After the counselor's declaration, the murmur of approval persists like a warm wind in the sails. The decision is made. There's no turning back now. The circle around us is a symbol of alliance, a silent pact that unites us as one heart. Each of us, from different positions and histories, stands there for one purpose: to change the kingdom's destiny. The decision echoes through the chamber walls. I feel the vibrant tension, the energy of transformation. We must act before the sign that we are a new power fades, Elias says, his voice charged with fierce urgency. He's right. We move toward the center of the room, like a group of warriors ready for battle. The candlelight dances as if celebrating our resolve. The old counselor, who now seems less distant, approaches. "If you go forward, I will help you." The king may not be aware of his mother's state, much less the intrigue surrounding him. But once the facts are revealed, the court will have to take a stand. Each of his words is a spark, rekindling determination in each of us. We will ensure the truth reaches the king's ears, I affirm, the weight of responsibility enveloping me. We cannot allow the interests of a few to reign over the destiny of the many. The time to change is now.
The nobles nod. The feeling is almost euphoric, as if the chains that bound us to the past are beginning to break. I feel anxiety mixed with adrenaline. This night becomes a landmark, a watershed moment between the dark days and a new dawn. If we are successful, we need to prepare for the consequences, warns the counselor, once again reconnecting with the reality that awaits us. The court will not easily accept a change in order. There will be resistance. We are ready for that. The confidence in my voice isn't just mine. It belongs to all of us, a growing anthem that rises through the waves of the room. Glances cross, firm, ready to face the coming storm. And then Elias's words sound again, recalling the darker aspects of the situation. Don't forget the hunters who patrol the shadows, ready to capture those who dare challenge authority. They won't rest until the established order is restored. A chill runs through the room, but determination doesn't waver. We will gather in the shadows, exchanging information. Constant vigilance will be our defense, I assure. If each of us commits to protecting one another, we will be more than mere pieces on a board. We will be a force. The meeting progresses. Thus, we outline a detailed plan, conversing in low voices but with fervor. Each step transforms into a stronger bond, a network of intentions that binds us together. The dance of words in the hall becomes a symphony of renewed alliances. Finally, as the party shifts from its grandeur to a genuine purpose, I realize that the history of this kingdom will no longer be written solely by the dinosaurs of the court. Instead, the quill of change now rises in the hands of many. Dawn is about to break. The light of truth will shine upon us, dissipating the darkness.